Welcome back, JAGs, to another episode of JAG TV.
Today we'll cover more information on the Jag Exchange and inform students on how to handle their exam exemptions over Skyward.
This is JAG TV.
Studio 126 on campus. This is JAG TV.
There will be a pep rally in the courtyard this Friday, November 15th from 8:15 to 8:55 a.m.
On Wednesday, November 20th, the senior panoramic pictures will be taken in the courtyard from 10:30 to 11:15 a.m.
On Thursday, November 21st from 8 to 8:55, the Criminal Justice Club and local law enforcement will host Coffee with a Cop in the main foyer to provide a chance to ask questions and engage with police officers in our community.
There's only a few weeks left before the semester exam, so that means everyone needs to be ready to request exam exemptions. But this year, the campus is doing away with the paper forms. Javi and Preston have the story.
Students who wish to take advantage of the exemptions in December will have to use their Skyward account to request exemption status.
So we're going to send information out. Essentially, the student will apply for the exams that they're actually eligible for through Skyward. There'll be an app that the district has created, and so they'll be able to log into their Skyward, access that tile, and start to see which actual classes they can exempt.
And just like in the past, whether or not you qualify for exemptions will depend on your grades, attendance, and conduct in each class.
So with our exemptions, yes, conduct matters. Once you have a U listed for your citizenship conduct grade, you cannot exempt that class.
As the end of the semester gets closer, students will need to keep up with updates on when exemptions start.
So the date will be a little bit later that will start because this process will actually take place online versus the paper format. So, but moving this online will actually allow us to have this process take place a little bit later, kind of providing a more accurate grade towards the end of the semester.
When choosing your exam exemptions, you can check if you're able to exempt by checking your attendance on Skyward.
So it'll vary depending on the average. A student's average will depend on, well, student's average will then see how many absences you're allowed to have. So, for example, if average is high enough, you may be able to have up to 3 absences or tardies. And then if it's a little bit lower, 2, and again, a lower average would be 1 or 0 at that point. So there's a sliding scale there with your average will then determine how many absences or tardies you're allowed to have, and that will be on the information that we'll send out.
The biggest difference is that exemptions must be requested on Skyward, and students and teachers will not be signing forms this year.
It actually allows for us to do this process a little bit later. The electronic is always faster. There are some, glitches potentially with technology, but this process allows for us to, if we wait a little bit later in the semester, then we can have a more accurate grade. Also, it takes away some of the pitfalls that we had seen with the exemptions when you use the paper copy. For example, if you're out on a field trip, but it was listed as a U, and that should be listed as school business at that point. We need to start getting those made now. Or if you haven't brought in a doctor's note from last week, you need to go ahead and bring those pieces in now to make sure that everything is coded correctly for your exemptions.
For JAG TV, this has been Javier Juarez.
Part of the college application process is getting letters of recommendation. Caleb and Tanner have some advice for students who are learning how all this works.
It's that time of the year when seniors are getting their college applications ready, and that means they need letters of recommendation.
So I asked really early because I already kind of had an idea of who I wanted to ask. I asked Mr. Cannon for a letter of recommendation probably a good month before deadlines, just so he'd have time to write it.
I asked my coach, Coach Dutson, because I know he thinks highly of me and knows my true character, and because of that I figured he'd write a very well letter of recommendation, and I saw him this morning and asked him for it, and he said he'd have it to me by the end of the day.
Seniors need to remember that there are some considerations to follow when requesting a letter.
Teachers would probably appreciate a 2-week window to get to write a really good letter for their students. Counselors also would appreciate that 2-week window, but we've known to get out a letter pretty quickly for some students who forgot that their deadline was coming up. But the rule of thumb is 10 days to give anyone that you're asking to write a recommendation letter for.
Remember, teachers can say no to write a recommendation letter, so it's best to approach faculty who you already have a positive relationship with.
Most students would ask a teacher that they liked to write a recommendation letter, so I don't think you'd ever run into that problem where a teacher would tell a student they wouldn't want to write a letter, because you want to ask someone to write a letter that knows you well, that knows your strengths, knows your talent, likes you. And so you wouldn't run into that problem, I don't believe.
While having a letter of recommendation may not always be required, all it can do is make your application look better.
A lot of kids think that they do have to have letters of recommendation, and the truth is that they really don't. But if they do want letters of recommendation, they should ask their teachers of their core classes, like their English or their math. If they're holding down a job, a great letter of recommendation could come from their employer. Now, that's for kids who are using the Apply Texas college application. For students who are completing the common application, those students do need a recommendation letter from their counselor. So that's really important, because a lot of them forget about that they don't think they do need a recommendation letter, and they do. So they want to give a questionnaire, complete a questionnaire, and give that to their counselor and any other teacher that they would like to write a letter for.
For JAG TV, this is Caleb Coleman.
Jag Exchange is back for the 2nd year in a row, providing students with the opportunity to not only fill up their wardrobe with fashionable merchandise, but also to contribute donations to the school. Ethan Blanchett has the story.
For the 2nd year, the fashion design class will host Jag Exchange, offering students real-life retail experience.
So Jag Exchange is a school thrift store where students can bring in items that they don't want to use in their closets anymore, and then we give them kind of like store credit, and then they can come and shop and get whatever everybody else has done.
Students in fashion design class organize all the products and make sure it is all merchandised, just like in a retail store.
What you can bring in a Jag Exchange is like clothes, jewelry, shoes, and like any type of like accessories or like other things you could have.
And while you can get all these products for a great price, there's only one form of currency you can use to buy them.
The Jag Exchange is where you can bring in any items from your house. In exchange, you get stuff called Jag Bucks, where you can use them to shop.
If you don't donate anything, then you can't purchase anything in the store. Okay. So any one item will get you 5 Jag Bucks, and you can come and use those. The items range from $1 to $5, but they're really Jag Bucks dollars.
The store will be running through most of November, so if you're looking to clean out your own closet or add some new stuff to your fit, you can find it in the library this year.
We're collecting clothes from now until November 15th. Then the store will be open in the NPR room in the library for the whole week right before Thanksgiving. But during the lunches, you have to have your Jag Bucks as your pass to get into the library so that you can shop the store.
From JAG TV, this has been Ethan Blanchett.
We have another edition of Hey SA with some citywide events to add to your calendar.
In case you haven't been paying attention, here's what's happening in the Alamo City. San Antonio's 19th annual Solar Fest is being held November 16th. Solar Fest celebrates renewable energy and energy efficiency. The Trilogy Dance Center is holding San Antonio's Dance Festival November 17th. Tickets are now on sale, $12 through Saturday, November 16th. Popular rap group Brockhampton are performing at the Aztec Theater tonight at 7 p.m. The Expo Mexican Fest is an artisanal event highlighting Mexican heritage being held at Wonderland of the Americas November 14th through the 17th. That's all for this week, Jags. See you next time.
What's up, Jags? This week on Jag Sports, we're going to take an overview of the last district game of the regular season. This is Jag Sports. Last Friday, the Jags played their final district game and didn't win, and they also watched Madison get crowned district champs. The Jags started the game with a touchdown by sophomore Ben McCreary to tie up the game in the second with 9:13 left in the half. Later in the quarter, Ty Reesner scores on a long run to once again tie up the score. At the half, the Jags were down 21-14 with a long second half left. After a great pass and catch by Shane Johnson, the Jags had a score of 20-28 in the third with 5:04 left. The Jags were down by quite a bit in the fourth after another touchdown by Jaron Randall made the score 27-42. The Jags scored again with a nice catch by Jordan Blass and a 2-point conversion by Jaron Randall, but the Jags came up short with a final score of 34-49. The Jags will play Brandeis in the UIL 6A Division II playoffs on Friday at 7:30 at Northside's Ferris Stadium, coming into the playoffs at second seed. That's all I've got for you this week on Jag Sports. Good luck to the football players and congratulations to all those who signed. We'll have that for you next week on your edition of Jag Sports. See you next time, Jags.
And finally, Nick Cavazos is up next to present a feature on the 3 competitive air rifle shooters in ROTC, who coincidentally are all named Bella.
Say the name Bella during 8th period in the JROTC range, and it's likely a competitive marksman will answer. There's senior Bella LaHaye, who's been competing for 2 years, senior Bella Rios, coming off a win in Nashville, and senior Bella Gomez, who enjoys firepower beyond the air rifle range.
Hi, we're the Bellas. It's become something we enjoy, and it's just fun between us.
Yeah.
Together, they make up the campus's competitive marksmanship team.
We just came off a big competition up in Nashville, the Montgomery Bell Academy Classic, where our precision team took second place overall, and Isabella Rios took first.
She shot really good, and so that really pulled her score through. She was on track to break the range record.
Despite consistent top placements, marksmanship is relatively unknown.
Marksmanship is kind of like a hidden thing. A lot of people don't realize, even in the places where they do have large shooting complexes, still a lot of people don't know about it and aren't familiar. I mean, it's kind of hard to explain to people what we do, because I mean, the first thing when you meet people are like, what are your hobbies, what are your interests? And I'm like, well, I'm on a shooting team. They're like, oh, really?
It is an NCAA sport, and at least one of the Bellas has her eye on that prize.
Yeah, I visited Nebraska and Ole Miss, and so I'm trying to get that process of hopefully being recruited for a D1 school.
Marksmanship takes the best parts of team and individual sports.
Yeah, I mean, you get the aspect of being in an individual sport because you're on your own when you're up there on the line. Each shot, that's up to you, how you take it. But then at the same time, a lot of the matches that we go to, we competed as a team, so you still have all the team members to support you and help you out.
Competitions happen all year long, keeping the Bellas on their toes.
It's like all year, because the beginning of the year we have a lot of just open matches, and we have league matches that we're shooting in right now. So we're shooting in an online league where there's a match every week.
Major actually signs up for basically all of them. During Orion, we can have up to like 3 matches a week. So I mean,
they're virtual matches. We shoot them and send our scores in online.
Looking forward, the team has big things planned.
So our goal this year is to qualify to go back again to the service championships like we did last year, and then to get past that to go to the JROTC National Championship, where we're competing against the top teams from all JROTCs.
This has been Nicholas Cavazos for JAG TV.
That's all we have for you this week. We will see you here next week with one more episode before our Thanksgiving break. See you next time, Jags.